Hello and welcome to another episode of the Revenue Revolution podcast brought to you by Joint Flows. Today we're joined by Kiera Flaherty, who is a sales leader at Klaviyo even. See, that's the one name I shouldn't have got wrong, which was Klaviyo. I was so focused on getting your name right. For our listeners, we just had a quick conversation about pronunciations before we hit record, but here we are. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Thank you for joining us. I know Mick speaks very highly of you. The two of
Oh,
these used to work together at a previous company as well, which is how you've ended up joining us. We always like to start with a little bit of an introduction, so our listeners know who you are. How have you got to where you've got to?
absolutely. Well, I was born, I'm only joking. Um,
You can go as early as you want.
I always like listening to these podcasts and hearing how people started off in like their tech sales journey. So I think I'll start it off with just a little pointer where I studied food science in back in Dublin, and I never thought in a million I didn't even know what I was going to do, funnily. So I think it's funny how people fall into their sales career, tech sales career specifically. And I remember being in a marketing agency randomly, like doing activations, very small events. And then I got a message on LinkedIn suggesting I have a conversation, account executive role. And I saw that they offered free lunch, and I was like, let's go. So
Sell
that's
out.
how I started off. I was one of the first BDRs in a company called Reich, is like a project management platform, and then worked in another company, Car Gurus, as an AE, and then moved over to London and started working at Outreach, and was one of the first AEs there. And for a few years, then Mick joined the team and was one of my favorite managers.
There you go.
Yeah, there you have it. Little compliment there. He didn't pay me, I swear. And yeah, they took the chance on me to become one of the sales managers of the growth team, which was awesome. And I think, like, definitely with Mick's encouragement and other leaders as well, pushing me to go for it, because I was quite hesitant. I think that's a problem. That women have, is that, oh, I'm missing out on one specific thing on the job spec, I better not go for it. But I think
Mm.
it's nice to have advocates internally that put your name in the, or put your hat in the ring. And I think, yeah, I was a manager there for a while, growth side of the business, which was very interesting as I was mainly focused on new logo and switched over to growth. I was like, wow, we need to have a better relationship here, because what's going on? We need to figure out how new business and growth can work better together. And then I took the opportunity at Klaviyo to join the entrepreneur team, and yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind. And I think definitely the passion for coaching, the passion for getting the best out of people is something that got me to where I am today, for sure. I hope that
Amazing.
an okay intro. It wasn't
That's
very.
amazing. It was
Perfect.
spot on. It's exactly what we needed to know.
And you've
I
got a
had
high
a
level sports background as well. You're not mentioning?
Yes,
Oh, is
thank
that right?
you, Mick. I
Yeah.
think, and I know, Mick, you've got a very good sports background too, but I definitely think it's shaped who I am. Being a sales leader and being part of a team, it comes naturally from playing basketball from a very young age, and then representing Ireland at the
Nice.
great teens, and playing National League basketball across the country, and being shouted at and being coming together as teams. It's something that has definitely helped me with my grit and determination when we get those no's and deals.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Bounce back, go at it again, be competitive, and like encourage those around you, for sure. So yeah, that's the bit of a sports background as well.
That's
Nice.
very good. You're a force for any team. Like I really having you in the team was always you knew everyone, no one was left behind, and I think that's quite unique to some people. Like there are people who can bring people together naturally,
Yeah.
and I think that you moving into a management role of as in managing people,
Yeah.
it's no brainer, right? It's right up your street. What do you think is harder? Do you think is it harder to manage your own set of opportunities to closure or like post closure, or to manage a team who's managing the closing process?
Wow. I think it's more difficult to manage, for sure. Especially if you're a little bit of you like to be in control and know exactly what's going on and know every detail. Um, I think trusting your team are gonna get the job done and taking a step back when you know the answer and you're so tempted to jump in and answer it for them on a prospect or customer call is something you really have to work on as a good leader. I think it's so easy to jump in and take over, but you just can't. That's just not something that's going to help the team in the long term. You can't be on every prospect call. So
Yeah.
helping them early on fail and let them know that's okay and they'll learn from those failures a lot better than
Yeah.
when I jump in the call and do it for them. So I think that was definitely something I had to work on in the early stage of my sales leader career. Uh,
Mm.
you just have to put yourself on mute and just don't say anything. Um, but yeah, I think I've gotten to a good point now. And I feel what you said there, like making sure everyone feels included. I want to make sure that the top performer and say someone who's struggling or has a lot of work to do, they don't feel that there's any difference in how I treat those two separate reps on the team, for example.
Yeah. And how have you found overall making that leap from IC to management? Obviously, I know you're coming up to 2 years, I think, in management positions now. So you've had a bit of while to be able to look back and see what that transition was like. How did you find it overall? What do you think were the biggest challenges? Because a lot of people struggle making that leap.
Exactly. And it's not easy. I think I struggled with going from the peer relationship to the manager relationship and being okay with maybe not being the most popular person anymore. Even go as far as to be disliked. Being okay with that because knowing it has to happen. You're not gonna be their best friend anymore when you're chasing them for updates on a deal or chasing them for um, their KPIs. So being okay with not being liked, but switching that over and know that you want to focus on being respected as a leader is
Mm,
something that you just need to start being okay with. Um, and I think, yeah, it was tough those couple of months going from peer to leader and switching where you landed in the dynamics of the organization of this team. Um, you just have to take your time and just not take it personally at the end of the day. Like remember what it's like to be a rep and put yourself in their shoes and have a bit of a moan. That's okay.
Mm.
yeah.
uh, but yeah, I think that was tricky. It was nice to then jump into the leadership role at Klaviyo where I was never the peer. So it was just like, okay, let's go. I'm your leader now.
And
But yeah,
Yeah.
that has its own challenges as well, then, right? Going somewhere as an external, um,
yeah,
earning their respect. You're not just the top performing rep that got promoted. You're coming in there and you're starting to call some shots that aren't always
Yeah.
popular as well.
yeah,
But sometimes you have people when you go into a new company immediately as a leader, you have someone who's also in that team, your manager who's like, I thought I was going to get that role as
Exactly.
well. So it adds an additional layer of drama
Yeah,
into you starting in that role as well.
for sure. I think. It's so important. And as you've throughout your career, you see people excel and do things that you're like, oh, I want to be like that, or I'm definitely going to try and be a similar
Mm,
leader to their style. And on the other end of the spectrum, you've got examples of people where you're like, whoa, I do not want to be like that for sure. That's not my style at all. So I think when I started at Klaviyo, I really took my time to understand who I was leading, who I was managing, what their why was, um, how they liked to be celebrated, how they liked to receive feedback, really understanding that before making changes is so critical.
Yeah.
Um, because oftentimes we talk about it how it's so important to have like internal champions or internal advocates who you know are going to speak highly of you when you're not there, but at the same time, and if not more important, you need to figure out who your critics are going to be and make sure to get them on side because they're the ones that are very important for sure.
Yeah.
um
It's a
absolutely.
much more political role, like than you can expect. There's a lot that happens between the lines, you know. Like when I started at Outreach, I was picking up from Tom Castley. Like there was no way you can't replace Tom Castley. Like the guy is too good, right? So you just if you're trying to be just as good, you're just gonna fall short every single time.
yeah,
And the challenge was to be like, all right, look, acknowledging, look, I'm not him, I'm not anywhere as good, but I can try and bring something to the table, and then
yeah.
is finding out what those things are. How do you, where do you start? And it's like, how do you go into a new team and detect, all right, this person is gonna be a champion to me. I can rely on. I can learn a lot of things, and then this person is gonna be detrimental. I
Mm.
need I need not to eliminate, but I need to address that.
Need to get him on a pip ASAP.
Yeah, I think
Oh my
top
God,
performer, you
ruthless.
know. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all that like being a leader, it's all about like reading people, right? Whether it's your team, whether it's your peers, your other managers. And I think as important as it is to get people's opinions, ask them about the current dynamics, what they like currently, what they want to change, getting those opinions, but also formulating your own opinion and really trusting yourself, trusting your gut is so critical. I think something that I feel like I did quite well was understanding who were like the leaders on the teams. So, which reps are the ones that people listen to, people are influenced by,
Mm,
and making sure if there was any changes. And granted, I started at the beginning of the fiscal in January, so there were a ton of changes coming, right? And that's tough to manage.
yeah.
But recognizing who were the leaders on the team and having a little conversation with them before a big change was being announced was definitely something that I pride myself in executing quite well on. So, for example, there was a leader on the team. He had been there for a while. He was a top performer. People definitely listened to him, respected him. So I had a conversation with him about an upcoming change around territories. And I said, hey, I really appreciate like people listen to you, people respect your opinion. I'd love for you to share that you feel quite positively about it in the team meeting. Could you do that for me? And I could see he
Love
was
that.
kind of chuffed that I had said, you're a leader, people respect you. He was kind of like, hmm, I am, haven't I? Kind of, yeah. So then when it came to the meeting, he shot his hand up straight away and he was like, I think this is great. And people were kind of
Amazing.
like, oh,
Amazing.
Tell them, you
Nailed
tell
it.
them.
it was awesome. And then, like, in our one-to-one the following week, he was like, was that okay? Was that like what you wanted? I was like, that was perfect. I couldn't have asked for more. So,
Nice.
yeah. Little
Very
things
smart.
like that are just so important. And Mick, I feel I feel when you started, we had a good relationship where I'd be honest with you about, say, how information would be received. And I think,
Yeah.
Did he listen?
oh, for sure.
Mick took your feedback on. He didn't just do it
Yeah,
at home. Why'd you
sometimes
do
you
it
just
anyway?
sometimes you just don't have the choice, right? Mick, I don't think we're gonna do. I think we're gonna do this.
I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, I mean,
cool.
sounds like a plan. But look, all of these things, they're so advanced, right? Like this thing of like pedagogically, when you speak about, okay, well, I don't want to introduce the change out of the blue, and I want to create sponsors to do that, and I want them to tell me how to do it. And you know that because you've got extreme emotional quotient, EQ. Let's call it EQ. But some people don't, right? Sometimes you've got sales managers who've been promoted because they're top A's. They're
Mm,
top A's because they're absolute sharks. They've got
yeah,
no care in the world of people's feelings.
yeah,
And then now they need to manage a team, and it doesn't work. Like,
yeah.
where where is the balance in your mind of, okay, I need to coach the coach versus where the coach is naturally gifted, I'm gonna let the coach go and find by itself.
Mm. I think it's so important if you recognize that in a in an individual where maybe their strength isn't that they've got the greatest EQ. I think giving feedback is so critical, right? If you see, and I think it's interesting because right now the team that I have, there's two other managers. So I'm a great believer in like sales is an art. It's all about like reading the person, like creating that bond, creating that relationship, telling the story. That's my strength. That's what I lean on. One of the other managers, her strength is reporting, analytics.
Yeah.
She views it as, say, sales is a science, it's a math. And I'm like, I can see that to a certain extent, but we're very different. And I think we've developed a really good relationship where, say, if I need support in the reporting side of things, I can then support her on like the EQ, the emotional side of like the
Mm.
business deal, how we can really get an understanding of the customer. And being able to have an open forum for feedback where if she thinks, oh, let's talk about this, what are your thoughts on, say, this presentation, making sure that we balance each other out and we support each other's strengths and call each other out if we think maybe there's a weakness there. And again, not taking it personally. I know I'm not perfect for sure. I make mistakes. And I think as you get older and start to realize that and know what you can control, being more open to feedback is definitely something that's important, right?
Mm.
Um, for sure.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. I've worked with people who are so bad at taking feedback. Like a conversation that should take 2, 3 minutes could take
Mm,
hours. And it's like, why are we still speaking about this? Then you've
mm,
got people like Mick, it's extremely binary. Hits, do you think this is a good idea? No. Okay. And
yeah,
then we move on and we're done. So yeah,
yeah,
I totally understand where you're coming from. I don't want to make this whole thing about the leap from IC to leadership and from
yeah.
company to company, but just one final question on that, because I think it's quite important because there's a lot of people right now who are going through changes in roles who could be listening right now, and those changes are often can be this way, horizontal, but can also be going up a level as well. What
Mhm.
do you think if there was one skill that you wish you had before going into leadership that you felt would have been useful that you had to learn, what would that skill have been? That's a bit wordy, but hopefully you understood the question.
So I want to make sure I get it.
Yeah, it's a very, very nice way to say no. So,
Okay, so if you had,
let me rephrase
let me
that
just
for you.
replay this back. So if you had one skill which you wish you already had, that you
Ooh,
had to later learn that was beneficial to have as you made that leap into leadership, what would that have been? I think that was much better put.
beautifully put, poetic. So I received feedback quite early on when I started in the leadership role, and it was around my communication.
Mm.
So I think as an IC, I'd be quite independent, and it wasn't good by any stretch. I wouldn't ask for help unless I really needed it. I really liked to figure things out by myself. And I think as a manager, as a leader, especially middle management or direct manager, you need to over communicate. And I think that's something that was pulled up early on, that like I need to know what's going on day to day. I don't want you to just give me a roundup on the end of the week, especially because for a while I was reporting over to the US as well. So they wanted to have a much more detailed comms about what the team was up to, how they were doing on a daily basis. And
Mm,
I was more communicating if things were not in a good spot and probably should have been communicated a lot sooner. So I
yeah,
think that's definitely something I'm still working on. It's like make sure I over communicate rather than only communicating when I need to, which is
yeah,
a big learning and definitely something I still need to remind myself. Hey, make sure you say that. Make sure you
yeah.
forward it up the chain. It's important.
Yeah, expecting, well, managing communication upwards, downwards, and sideways are all equally important and very, very important actually because you communicate these in different ways as well. So,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely resonates.
exactly.
Um, I guess another good topic to speak about. I don't want to hijack it, Mick, so you could change topics if you want. But obviously, you were at Outreach for quite a while, which was quite a bit of a rocket ship, right?
Yeah.
Very, very upward trajectory. You're now at Klaviyo, which is also doing very well as
Mm,
well. However, the market has changed in that 5,
mm.
6 years period as well.
Oh
What do you
God.
think has been the most significant changes over that period of time that you've seen that impact sellers?
Oh God, yeah. When I started as an AE and our meetings were just constantly talking about growth, doubling our teams, making sure that we were on track to be a rocket ship, exactly what we were experiencing at Outreach. And I think growth was all people were talking about.
Mm,
Whereas now it's completely different. There's so many more people involved in the decision making process. Everybody wants to get eyes on it. Everybody wants to be involved in a decision. And even in entrepreneur, which is smaller businesses, which is what the segment that I look after today, there's so many pieces to the puzzle. There's so many second guessing. There's so many oh, we just want to have one more meeting to make sure we iron out every single detail that we're worried about, which is fine. We can do that. However, the need for the customer now is definitely to make the most of what they have and to get rid of things that they're not using properly, any sort of tools or platforms. And I know it's kind of overdone and oversaid, but like that path to profitability is more important. And I think something that we were definitely shocked by, that teams were getting smaller. Growth was not mentioned anymore on calls. It was, we want to make sure we're making the most of what we have, cutting cost, and that's the priority of businesses today. And it feels like it still is, and it's going to be for another while for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. That's how we operate joint flows, by the way. And we are probably similar to the people you sell to.
Mm,
We look into everything, right? And even if it's not too expensive, the cost is almost, it's not the main factor. It's okay, well, how long is it gonna take us to implement? How long is it gonna take us to ramp? Like all these things are costly without being a budget line, and I
mm,
think it's important, and that's why we love Klaviyo. And like, I was giving the background before we
Yeah,
pressed record. You guys play such a big part in making it easier for like everyone at different stages of growth to operate
mm,
with marketing.
yeah.
Um, and by the way, you're hiring. This is not sponsored by Klaviyo, we're just fans. Kiera, do you want to speak about this quickly, and then we can.
Yeah, for sure. So we've got really, actually, which is quite rare, big growth targets, and particularly um, we have big plans to expand further into Germany, France, and the Spanish and Italian market. Sorry, I should have said DACH rather than German, but yeah, we've got big hiring and even into the new year as well. We're hoping to really grow. So yeah, we're hiring my team as well as SMB mid-market. So yeah, if you check it out, we've got actually a live hiring discussion with some of the managers and reps tomorrow. I can share the link, but yeah, hiring
Yeah,
like
yeah.
crazy. If you're interested and you're listening,
Yeah,
reach out.
yeah, do it. It's worth it. If it's not for Klaviyo, do it for Kiara, So it's gonna be good management. You're gonna learn a lot, and as you can tell by the podcast, like she's very caring about who she's managing. So go for it.
Sure.
And a good transition maybe to the next topic, which you touched on, Kiara. How do we help get more women into those seats? Like we struggle at Joint Flows to get female podcast guests
Mm,
locked in to find talents because they just don't come even
mm,
through the door at all. Like, and sometimes we call out, hey, we're looking for these kind
yeah.
of attributes, and gender is one of them.
Mm.
We just can't find people.
Yeah.
Like what's missing, do you think, in the approach?
Honestly, it's tough. I think it's everywhere at Klaviyo as well. We've hired, or I hired, two amazing female reps that were promoted internally from BDRs to AEs last month, and they're savage. They're so good. But it's, yeah, where the hell are these these
Yeah.
women? Where do we get them? It's hard. I feel like even when I'm interviewing, it feels like there's a lot more men going for the sales roles as opposed to women.
Mm.
And I think representation is a big thing, right? If you see that there's women in seat, whether it be in leadership or on the team itself as AEs, I think when you see that, you're more inclined to be drawn in a little bit.
Mm.
So that's what we want to show as well, is that we've got a female VP at Klaviyo, Pia. We've got female leaders across the board in different departments as well. And I think we need to shout that from the rooftops. And I think for men to be strong advocates and to also be quite vocal about, and I think that the fact that you just said that there, Mick, is like you want to see more female talent, you want to hire more women. It's like perfect, let everybody know. I think so often we maybe assume that that's an obvious thing, where in actual fact people don't
Yeah.
know what they don't know. So
Mm.
I think it's great that you mentioned that, because yeah, we all need to do our part as women, as men, to encourage more women. I know not that long ago, I went back to my old secondary school in Dublin, and I did a
Nice.
talk for like a group of 16-year-olds. And I thought, okay, I'm surely it's different from when I was in school. Everyone knows about tech sales. Surely, surely. And I asked them all, it was an all girls school, and there was about 30 girls in the class, 16. I said, okay, put up your hand if you know what like SaaS or the tech industry is. Only one girl put up her hand, and it's because her dad worked in LinkedIn.
Wow.
Nobody else knew what it was. So that was a little bit alarming. I said to myself, whoa, okay, we need to do a bit more work here. Like, because that means just they don't know about it, they're not going to apply for it. Whereas at the end of that talk, everyone was like, wow, this sounds great. They were like, how much money could you earn? Holy shit. So yeah, I think we need to do a bit more education about what sales is and tech sales is because like as I mentioned, I fell into it because of a random LinkedIn message. But yeah, people don't know about it. They're not going to go for it. And I think so many people with various different experiences can go into tech and thrive.
Yeah.
So we need to be a bit creative, I think, about where we're looking, where we're scouting that talent, that next hire for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you. I think it also starts with just having the right behavior. My sister-in-law, so my brother's wife,
Yeah.
he's a salesperson, and she's in a very antiquated. She sells forklifters.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
yeah, and she said she got hired. She stayed there for a year and a half, and she was bullied by the system. Like the whole system was like white male, mid-aged, heavy, like to call it out, and
Yeah.
there is she felt it, and then the maternity leave happened, and so on and so forth, and
Mm.
yeah, it was not welcome. It was a problem. So I agree with you. Like again, like we're looking for more representation, and on the podcast side, but also internally, like
Mm.
we're five men in the
Yeah.
company, not because we're trying to just hire four men, but we
We
just
have
can't
some
find.
female advisors.
Yeah,
Great.
we
We
just
do have
can't
some
Love
female
find. We can't
advisors.
find people.
Yeah.
So yeah, help us, please.
Well, I know we spoke about it before we started recording. You had asked me had I watched many episodes of the podcast, and I immediately jumped to watching Annie's episode, and that definitely encouraged me to come on. So even
Yeah.
subconsciously, I did that myself, which is crazy. So yeah,
It's
I
so
think
true.
once you start seeing more or hearing hear people hearing this conversation, I'm sure it'll encourage other women to
Yeah.
be like, oh, hey Mick, I want to be on your podcast.
Yeah.
Nice.
Please message directly. We'd welcome the opportunity.
Oh,
Um, I
yeah.
agree with everything that you said, Kiera. And did I say that right? Kiera?
Yes, perfect.
Nailed it. Had we hit record yet when we were talking about when you moved from the IC role to the management role at Outreach? Because one of the things you said, which was interesting, was you almost didn't go for it
Hmm.
because there was a box tick, I guess, of attributes or skill set or something that was required for the role. And you
Hmm.
hit a lot of it, but not 100% coverage of it. And so
Yeah,
for you, you felt, hey, well, if I don't tick all the boxes, I probably shouldn't go for it. And you were
mm,
lucky because you had a lot of endorsement internally from people like Mick and other leaders within the business who believed in you and said you should be going for this. They really advocated for you.
yeah.
Um, so I don't know if we hit record or not. If we didn't, that's what you went through. But
Yeah.
my question is, how do we build up that self-belief
Mm.
within women to say, hey, actually, I don't have to be 100% perfect and I can still go for this, to create less resistance between wanting to do something and actually doing it.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good question. I think I've had a ton of different leaders, both men and women.
Mm,
And I think something that women do is that we're very hard on ourselves. Like when I mentioned there, your or answered your question, Hitesh, by the feedback, I need to be
mm,
over communicating. I beat myself up about that for weeks. I was like, there was an incident where I didn't share someone was ill on the team, and the leadership were like, why didn't you let us know? And I was just beating myself up. I think sometimes women we tend to catastrophize as well. And I genuinely was like, oh my God, what if I get fired over this?
mm,
What if what if this had happened, or what if she was really unwell and I would have like I was in such a tizzy. And I think recognizing that often is so helpful. when your leader is able to see, okay, I need to jump on a quick call and just make sure that they're okay.
Yeah.
And I think that was a strength when I had a team of all females. I was able to recognize when I needed to have a quick word with someone in a one-to-one setting and just reset like, hey, it's okay. Because we do beat ourselves up a little bit more than I think our male counterparts, unfortunately. And I think as well as that, I was working in a company where it was, I'd say it was 80% men on the sales team. It was a company where we were selling to car dealers. So it was like our customer
Yeah.
base were all male. I was working with mainly male. And often women are hesitant to raise their hand, even if we know the answer to something as well. We're a little bit thinking in our mind, oh, what if I get a little bit wrong? Or what if I don't say the right thing? Or what if I get feedback or someone says a smart comment? So we tend to hold back a little bit more. So I think as leaders, both male and female, calling out the women in the room, hey, what do you think about this situation or this scenario? Or
Mhm.
what's your feedback? Or any ideas to bring to the table here? Being really encouraging of the females on the team is so important and can be easily done, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's a line from a book recently that I came across or kind of listened to the short version on on Audible because
Yeah.
I don't have time to read a full book sometimes.
But to the
And
point.
it and it's called The Culture Code. And I think it's about the way we deliver feedback sometimes is so important. And there was a study done on student performance where it was saying that students were more likely to take on this feedback if we delivered or if the lecturers were using this way of communicating the feedback. And it's when you say, I'm giving you these comments because I have very high expectations and I know you can reach them.
Mm.
And saying that encourages people to take on the feedback a lot better. And I can understand why, because you're letting them know that you think highly of them. They're part of this group, and that the reason you are giving them this feedback is because you know that you have like positive views of them. And it really resonated with me because I think I've been given feedback in a way where I've taken it so to heart and it's really not gone down well. And it's played on my mind over and over. Whereas if it was delivered in a more positive way, similar to what I just said, I think
Mm.
I would have retained it and not been so upset by it. So
Yeah.
I hope that's a long way of
No,
answering.
it does. That was that absolutely answered the question as well. So thank you so much. We are just about out of time, however. However, we do have a traditional wrap-up question, which is for your whole career to date, what has been your favorite memory and why?
Oh, I like this question. There's a video of this scenario where I think it was like Halloween Eve or something, and it was back at Outreach where we were working late. There was one or two deals still to come in, and they were huge deals. And we were all gathered around the laptops waiting to hear back. They said everything was good to go. We were just waiting for that DocuSign notification to come in.
Mm.
And she clicked on the email, and Bella, the girl whose deal it was, the deal came in, and you'd swear we won the World Cup. We won the lotto. We won, like everyone was jumping around. I lifted Bella up in the air and I was jumping up and down. Everyone was cheering, jumping up and down. It was just so gorgeous. It was like, this is why we're in sales. This is why we're here at like, what is it, 8 o'clock at night waiting for this deal to come through.
Amazing.
And everyone was so encouraging. And I think there's a video floating around LinkedIn somewhere of it happening. And
Yeah.
it was just Oh, it was lovely. I watch it sometimes and you're like, oh, so great. It was such a nice crew that was still there as well. So
Yeah.
it was an awesome moment.
Was Dustin there?
Yes,
Yeah, he's
Dustin was
This was
there.
his favorite memory too.
Oh, no way.
I'm
Oh,
yeah,
pretty
yeah, yeah.
sure because he's been on the podcast and
that
I'm
is
pretty
so,
sure he gave the same answer.
Yeah,
oh,
that's
I
the
love
video Kira's referring to.
yes.
Yeah, that's the
That
one. There you go.
moment. I'll share it with you guys because
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
amazing. Everyone was like, "What the hell is going on?" It looks like
yeah.
crazy. Obviously, a few glasses of wine were had as well, so we were probably a little
Absolutely.
bit more giddy.
Absolutely. Amazing. Well,
Yeah,
thank you so much for joining us. I've really enjoyed this episode and I'm sure our listeners have will enjoy it too.
awesome.
Um, that's all there is to it. So thank you so much for to our listeners for joining in. This has been the Revenue Revolution podcast. Until next time. Thank you. Bye bye.
Million. Thank you.
I